All right, guys, hey, we're doing a test today. I'm calling it the railroad test. We are on 12.3.3. Here's the intersection I want to test. First, I'm going to drive through with my human brain. So as you can see here, when we get a red light, the intersection's actually over this railroad track. What a lot of cars do, there's no right turn lane here, but what a lot of cars do will kind of squeeze in on the right when you got a red light here to go right on red. And I want to see what'll happen now. We got a green light. I'll kind of show you the intersection that we're going to be working with. Hopefully we get a few cars blocking our way so we can give it a good test. But see how there's kind of an area here on the right you can squeeze in. So this is the intersection I want to test. We're going to run it a number of times, see how it does. Again, we're on 12.3.3, running a Model Y Hardware 4. Let's go. All right, here we go. We're going to throw on full self-driving. Now there's two things that I like to test with this intersection. By the way, this is the first time I'm doing it with 12.3.3. So in 11.4.9, it used to stop prematurely at this railroad track. That's number one. It couldn't tell where the lights were. And then number two is to see if it can squeeze past cars and actually make that red on red. All right, first attempt, we have a green light. So we do have one car waiting for us. Nice and smooth, picks the right lane. All right, easy one for the first one. So let's re-engage and go again. All right, take two. We do have a red light this time. Got a bunch of cars at the intersection. Hopefully it stays red by the time we get up there. Left turn arrow just went on. I think there's probably gonna be too many cars for us to squeeze by on the right, but as you can see, if you look ahead, this red Honda is pulling that maneuver right now. It takes that right area. So here we are, kind of backed up, stops nicely. By the way, I do have it on assertive. See, again, this car here taking that little maneuver. So that's what we want to have. Now we have a green light. Should be a nice smooth turn here. Picks the right lane. All right, not too challenging. So let's re-engage and go again. All right, third attempt. Guys, looks like we have a train, which is pretty rare. So yeah, this isn't gonna be much. Hopefully it just stops for the train, but you can see these lights. I kind of want to see how they illuminate on the display. You can see these flashing train lights. They are picked up as traffic lights, not as train lights. You can see they're all flashing red. So obviously we're going to stop here. There's nothing exciting. Train's going to come by. But so what has been interesting in the past is that the vehicle would stop before this train track, think that it stopped for the red light, and then if you give it a little bit of an accelerator, you'd push it past, but then it would actually run the red light after. So look at how it's picking up the train, just a whole bunch of semis. Interesting. Yeah, they really just don't have rendering for trains, and they really don't have the rendering for the railroad crossing down yet. So yeah, total chaos on the screen, but obviously the good news is that it stopped. So we'll let this train pass, and then all right, train's passed. I just want to see how it does. We have a green light, shouldn't be a problem. All right, let's go again. All right, next take. We haven't even really gotten a right on red yet. We haven't been the front car on a red. All right, this might be it. We've got this Chevy going right. If that car in front is going right as well. All right, is there a car? No. All right, so this will be a right on red scenario. It doesn't have to squeeze around a car that's going straight here, but it'll still be good. So both these cars are going right. We are as well. It's kind of creeping toward the railroad crossing. A lot of traffic on the left, so we'll see if they even get an opening to go. Rockstar up there in the Jeep. That's the license plate, Rockstar. All right, let's see if that Jeep can find a gap. with his meat brain. Go. All right, now go. Good. All right, so we should creep across the railroad tracks here, which we do. Again, there's no real right turn lane. All right, this Chevy found a way, so now it's our turn. Left turn arrows, so these cars do have priority here going left. We do yield nicely, and we should go after this, although we're probably gonna get a green light. We got a bunch of cars turning left in front of us, yielding nicely. We should go now, even though it's still red, and we do very nicely. Good, good, good. Okay, first right on red. Let's go again and see if we can't get a car blocking us. All right, next attempt. That last one was good, right on red. Why are we going too far? Okay, let's get a red light here. Come on. All right, we got a yellow turning to red, so we'll get another red one. So it stopped before the railroad tracks here. Let's see if it goes on its own. It's creeping. It doesn't know where to stop. So I'm going to give it accelerator. This is just like 11.4.9. Now, does it think it already stopped at the red, or is it going to stop again? It does stop again. Now it should go, which it does. Okay, so it's still, that's the same thing that it was doing with 11.4.9, where it stops at the railroad tracks, and then you got to give it accelerator to go over. But the correction now is that it stopped again at the intersection. So that is a little bit of an improvement from 11.4.9. I would have preferred that it just drove right through the railroad tracks, but okay, little work to do there. Let's go again. All right, another attempt here, heading toward the intersection, and we're gonna have a right on red again. No cars in front of us. Let's see how it does this time. One of these days we're gonna get a car in front of us. All right, let's see if it stops at the railroad tracks again. This time it went through. So I don't know if it's learning or what. Now, is it gonna be able to see around this truck? Cars are going, so it's yielding. And we've got a right on red situation, kind of creeping a little bit. We got to see around this 2500 HD Duramax, which I think it can. So we got a lot of traffic from the left that we're yielding for. So that was interesting. It went over the railroad tracks that time and found a gap, and we are clear, proceeded nicely. Good acceleration. All right, let's try again. All right, it kind of pulled out right behind this semi. I don't think we're gonna have anything here other than it can't really see around it. It looks like it wants to pass it on the left. That's not, oh, whoa, whoa, yeah, then it changed its mind when it realized that was a left turning lane. When you have it on assertive, it does want to try to pass vehicles if it can, but it correctly saw that it was gonna run out of space and just be in a left turning lane. So tucked back in behind this rig. So I think this is probably going to just be a right on green situation again. It was really interesting how one time it stopped at the railroad tracks and another time it went over the railroad tracks. It's interesting that it doesn't do the same thing each time. I don't know if it learned that quickly. Yeah, obviously it can't learn that quickly. We didn't get any new updates or anything, but it can make a different decision based on really, really similar variables from one time to the next. So interesting. All right, let's go again. All right, attempt number 70. Here we go. We have a bunch of cars in a line, and now a green light, green light. Right turn signal on. And smoothly over the railroad tracks. Takes its right away. Always picks the right lane. Very good. Let's go again. All right, here we go. Did you guys hear about the Robo-taxi news? To be released on 8/8 is what Elon X'd. You know, in Chinese culture, 8 is a very lucky number. If you ever go and play slot machines, you'll see sometimes the bets are $8.88. China, 8, released on 8/8. Coincidence? Don't know. I don't think they're going to allow robo-taxis in China, at least not right away. There's a lot of metropolitan areas in the US where it's already legal. So it would make sense to plug those in, as we have a right on red scenario here. Stops, and we're going to yield for these vehicles on the left. Picked up the cyclist across the street. It should creep out. We don't have any gaps yet. I should creep out and take a right here, maybe after this white no. It would be really aggressive if it went now. It could have gone. A human would have gone, because that Chevy was turning right, so it had a gap there that it missed. And now we got a bunch of cars that it's yielding for. Better safe than sorry, but a human would have gone there in that little gap. And now, still seeing vectors. Could have gone there as well. You know what it's not seeing is the cars on the left that turn their right turn signal on. The human would pull out in front of them because it sees that they're turning right. I'm not sure that it's picking up on those right turn signals, so it's missed a couple gaps. But better to not pull out into a gap than to pull out into a non-gap, I always say. All right, let's go again. Guys, I might have to go recharge my camera. I've been doing, the Tesla has used about 5% battery in all of these attempts with all this stop and go driving. The camera is hot and ready for a break. All right, we've got a red light with a line of cars and a trailer. It should just tuck in behind this blue, sky blue Toyota. What is this? A hybrid? Oh, a Prius. You know, Toyota Prius was one of the first vehicles to actually do regenerative braking. A lot of props to that. I mean, they had figured it out over a decade ago, at least to some extent. I'm kind of surprised that people still drive those. But anyway, we got a red on green situation. Really smooth as typical, as expected. All right, let's go again. All right, here we go again. Got a green light right now. Yellow. To red. And we got one car ahead of us. Let's see if it wants to go right or straight. Okay, it's going straight. We got the scenario, so we're stopping here. I want it to go and creep to the right. It's not doing anything. I'm pushing the accelerator because I think it's stopping at the railroad. I'm pushing the accelerator again. Let's see what it does. It's stopping here. Not doing it. All right, I'm taking over. We're gonna go into the right gap here. Now I'm gonna re-engage it. So definite fail. I mean, by the letter of the law, it didn't fail. There's not a right turn lane there. But every human at this intersection takes this little gap and goes to the right. So, and now it's waiting on red or red. All right, so we got the scenario we wanted. Got a little gap here. It goes nicely. I got to admit, there wasn't a ton of space. Man, it really accelerates off that right turn. There's not a ton of space for it to squeeze through on that. Sometimes the cars could be a little bit farther to the left. I suspect maybe if it saw a bigger gap, we might have to test more another day. I think I've hit my limit for driving around and redoing this today, but here are my thoughts. So, first of all, it did not do what a human would do in that scenario at the end there. A human would have found that gap like I did when I took over. Second, the railroad crossing situation was interesting because one time it stopped at the railroad, another time it went over it, and it was kind of similar situation, but it did something different each time. So that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting how once it wanted to try to go around the car and pass slow-moving vehicle on the left, and then noticed it was a left turn lane. A human would never do that because it knows that that's a left turn lane. You would think FSD should know because it has maps. It should know that that's a left turn lane. But in the moment, it thought for a second, maybe I could get around this vehicle on the left. So just a couple things not human-like. So we're not there yet, but compared to 11.4.9, a lot more smooth, of course, with the actual turns. Accelerates hard out of those turns, really, really hard. I do have it on assertive, but just notice that 11.4.9 didn't accelerate as hard out of those turns. Didn't hit any curbs, didn't hit any vehicles, you know, safe, definitely felt safe. Just there were a few scenarios where it stopped, where a human, I think, would have proceeded a little bit differently. So we're getting there, got a lot of good footage, some disengagements we can send to the FSD team. So all in all, successful day. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.